Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be going over the 5 steps to a great wrist flick, and we're going to start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab.
Reach your individual goals.
You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video.
Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become.
All right guys, so I know I've made a ton of videos about the wrist flick, and that's just because I cannot get over the importance that it has of being able to throw the ball effectively. And I think some people might have the misinterpretation that the wrist flick is just something you either have or you don't have, and that kind of separates people, and it's the same with speed. And I will say that I do think this is something that is taught, but you have to understand all 5 parts here. It's not like you can only get one of these and be able to make it work. It's like you have to do all 5 of these in order to have the most success and really guarantee your results in terms of being able to have a strong wrist flick as the ball is coming out of your hand. And this is something, again, that I've had to develop myself to be able to improve my own wrist flick. I was able to do some of the things well kind of naturally, but there are some parts of it that I had to really focus on improving in order to make it so I can improve my results. And I really hope you're able to dedicate the time and focus on being able to knock out all 5 of these parts. You're going to see massive results. So first thing that we're going to go into is going to be the load, right? Because when it comes to being able to do this, it's not just that, right? The wrist flick is not just that. The wrist flick goes into all 5 parts. And so when we first load, what we want to be able to do, and I see a lot of guys kind of do this, you can kind of stay down here, kind of like the Tom Brady, but the big thing is you got to have the nose of the football going back, right? So it needs to be that action. It can't be just straight back or going here. And really, you don't want to go too much here either, just because that gives you a tendency to get the ball back behind the head. And so what we want to do is we want to be cocking that wrist so it's like that action where we're going here. And then from that, so that's step 1, right? We got to be able to load effectively. And you can go lower with it. Again, you can go and not even really load the wrist here, again, like the Tom Brady's of the world. He doesn't really do too much of loading the wrist, but he still brings that nose of the football backwards, okay? And then from that, so that's step 1. Step 2 is as you initialize coming forward with the football, you have to keep that wrist neutral, right? And that's the biggest thing that I see is people, as they load, they'll break here, right? And they let that wrist bend, and they let the elbow go below, or allow like the nose of the football to face straight ahead. That's where you initialize the poor mechanics, right? So you could already be messed up with that load. Not as many people are messed up with the load here. I will say that you want to, from this position, right, we don't want to go too much into getting the wrist here. We want to keep that wrist pretty neutral. And then as we're coming forward, we want to be able to initialize this step without breaking the wrist. So as I'm coming forward with the elbow, coming forward with the wrist, I'm not breaking it all here. I'm keeping it neutral, okay? So I'm here, keeping it neutral as I come through. And what the next thing is, so that's step 2. Step 3 is as I'm coming forward, rotate with the wrist as I'm bringing the elbow through, right? So I want to be able to actually actively turn the wrist so the nose of the football is facing forward. Or if I'm throwing the deep throw, I want to be able to turn the football so I'm able to get my hand in a C position. I'm going to still be able to get the nose, facing forward to some degree. It's just going to be a little bit more of an upward position as I'm coming forward.
Quarterback University is where committed quarterbacks come to take their game to the next level. Improve your throwing power, velocity, accuracy, and get the ball out of your hands faster. Not only are there videos to improve your mechanics, but there's also workout tutorials and also drills to help you improve as well. We want to help you get noticed, which is why we also included a recruiting services section. We'll have quizzes that you'll be able to take to be able to make sure that you actually get the information and are able to repeat it back. In case you have any shoulder, back, wrist, or elbow soreness, there is a section to address that as well. Click the link here in order to get started. Thanks for watching.
So it's not going to be here and then coming here and then getting my hand stuck behind the ball, or getting that nose facing off to the side or down or up or anything like that. That's going to be getting too much of a lateral or a bend going on in the wrist. What we want to be able to do is we want to be able to utilize the muscles in the hands and the bones in the hands to be able to allow our wrist to be able to come this way, right? I see a lot of people that really have a lot of movement going on here. As the ball's coming out of their hands, there's almost too much of that action and not enough of that forward action. And then there's some people that just only have that kind of forward position where they're only like pushing off with their index finger there. And so we want to be able to utilize all three planes. So we want to be able to flick the wrist forward. We want to be able to have a lateral movement coming forward and through as we're twisting that wrist to be able to get that wrist around. And then we also want to be rotating as we're coming through, rotating within the shoulder, rotating within the wrist, and also flicking the wrist through. So it's a triplanar movement as we're releasing the football, and that's going to be built by being able to come around with the football here and make it so now we're getting our forearm in a fairly upward position. You can be in these different spots, right? But you want to be able to get that C position of your hand and your wrist, right? We can go into how to be able to do this when you're throwing on the run and stuff like that. That's going to be a whole nother can of worms. We got to first just be able to every time be able to get to this position and then be able to come forward and through from here. Okay, so step 3 is here, right? Coming forward and really turning the wrist as we're driving the elbow through. Step 4 is being able to get our hand in a C position, not a U position. So when we're about to release the ball, we got to be here. Okay, so there's 4 steps to be able to get ourselves in the right position to be able to flick the wrist correctly. Okay, so that's really important for you to understand. This is a 5-step video. 4 of these steps are making it so we can just get your wrist in the right position to be able to then go through that triplanar wrist flick where we're getting the ball to come forward, we're getting the ball to be able to rotate, right? We're going in rotating through the hand, and we're also bringing the ball around to be able to create a lateral movement in the wrist, right? So it's a 3-plane here, coming around here, flicking the wrist forward, rotating as we're coming through to make it so we're working in the sagittal plane, which is forward and back, and the frontal plane, which is side to side, and then the transverse plane, which is rotational. And if you can get all 3 planes into that wrist flick, that's going to make it so you can consistently throw a spiral. It can make it so you could really load the body in the way to be able to, best utilize your arm strength and really your body strength to be able to throw the football. But a lot of guys are struggling from a throwing perspective because they're not able to use their body. The reason you're not able to use your body is you're having a hard time syncing up everything within that wrist flick to make it so now you can get consistent results every time you throw the football. So, that's a big part of being able to understand what you can do in order to improve as a quarterback. If you like the information, click that thumbs up down below. This was a great video, guys. Honestly, it could help you out a ton. Subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations, leave those down below. If you're watching this and you want to really be able to get a more detailed breakdown of exactly what you're doing within your wrist and being able to improve there, you can click the link down below in order to get a great deal on the breakdown. I'm going to add something in that will be specific to people that are actually watching this video. And we also do have a $50 off discount this week only. It's going to end, this is the first week of February, so it's going to end at the end of the week of 2022. If you're watching this right now and can take action on the throw program, I obviously highly recommend you doing that. But again, I'm going to make a specific offer for this video in our throw breakdowns. And so you're interested in doing that, go ahead and click that link down below to be able to access that one-time free offer. Well, it's not a free offer, but that one-time offer of being able to get 28 days of workouts as well as unlimited breakdowns is something that's going to be very, very unique to this video. So check that out down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.